A large crowd gathered in Cape Charles on Thursday afternoon to celebrate the groundbreaking of parts 1 and 2 of the Eastern Shore Bike Trail. Here is former Northampton County Board Chair Spencer Murray discussing a little bit of the history of the railroad corridor.
In 1883, some 142 years ago, a gentleman, very wealthy gentleman by the name of William Lawrence Scott, and another gentleman who was basically a railroad engineer, Alexander de Cassatt, they were determined to move freight, especially produce and seafood, from the Delmarva Peninsula up to the northern cities. And therefore, the New York, Philadelphia and New York Railroad was born. Clearly, their motives were capitalistic, but they also saw a public good. And in fact, as has been said, this Cape Charles is a railroad town. It has always been, in my memory, a railroad town. William Scott owned the land that we gathered on today, and with a team of others, including Mr. Cassatt, they dredged a freshwater lake, which was right down here, out to the Chesapeake Bay, and made the Cape Charles Harbor. He dedicated this land for a rail yard as well, and it obviously became the home of the ferries that transferred people from here to what we call the other side of the world. And they did a good thing. They really did a good thing. So then in 2018, as Ron has alluded to, when Bay Coast Railroad ceased operations, and all the employees, by the way, resigned on the same day, we had locomotives sitting out here, we had cars sitting out here, we had 50 miles of track, we had, and I can see some of you nodding your head, you can remember that. I mean, I remember a cold January day, Andy, when was standing out here cutting up locomotives and getting rid of the trash and everything that had accumulated over 100 and some years. But basically, the boards of supervisors, when that Bay Coast Railroad ceased operations, as Ron had said, we had a real dilemma. I mean, we were at the point where we were going to lose everything here. All the properties would have reverted back to the original owners. It would have been a gigantic mess. So we did quickly partner with Delmarva Central Railroad up in the northern part from Hallwood to Pocomoke, Maryland.
Murray went on to explain that the protection of the railroad corridor with the Bike Trail Act will protect broadband as well as HRSD, possibly other future infrastructure investments that will help the shore in the future.
So we protected the rail corridor and the existing broadband high-speed. I don't know if everybody knows this, but the broadband high-speed fiber runs underneath of the corridor. And that obviously has been expanded all over the shore as a result of that. We partnered with the Hampton Roads Sanitation District to provide wastewater treatment from Nassawadox all the way up to Only. As everybody knows, wastewater treatment has always been an issue with the development of the towns. You really cannot effectively develop if you don't have wastewater treatment and clean drinking water as well. So that also runs under the corridor.
Here's the Eastern Shore Rail Trail Foundation Executive Director Ron Wolf discussing the finances of the project.
$53 million is pretty much secured. That would give us almost 3/4 of the funding we need for the trail. So that's very, very exciting.
Wow.
Here's VDOT's Chris Hall explaining why this project was turnkey.
One of the things that separates this trail effort from the rest of the trails that are going on in the state is we have a railroad that's already available. We don't have to buy all that right away. It's already here to use. And our partners with Canoni Atlantic have been just really so important to making sure that we're we're at the place where we are now. And then
Here's current Northampton County Board Chair John Coker discussing the potential for economic benefits.
Possibly creating an environment for economic development along the trail, okay? Because basically there's a lot of businesses along the trail that are struggling, don't have enough business. So if we can create more people up and down the trail using those businesses, we hope it'll sustain existing businesses and possibly create new businesses. So, I don't think there's a bicycle shop around here, is there? Is anybody? A new one, right?
It's a great day to build a trail.
The Eastern Shore Rail Trail Foundation and the town of Cape Charles recently inked a deal where Cape Charles would maintain the bike trail from the railroad yard to Route 13. Completion is expected for October 2026.